Let's deal first of all with that news from the mayor. 7 new sites opening up. How big an impact will they have?
I think that will definitely help out with all the lines. We see massive, massive lines in demand right now. But even though that Bill DeBlasio is opening up new 7 testing sites, I just read today that 13 city MDs are closing down. So even though we have these new 7, 13 closed down, which is going to add even more demand. But, we definitely need more testing sites. We definitely need more help to help with the lines and to hopefully ease up the laboratory's capacity.
So, Mark, you have 2 sites in New York City, and then you have another one open right on Madison Square Garden, MSG. And I'm wondering, how's it going? What's the biggest, what's demand are you seeing? How are you managing it? What's the biggest problem that you're having right now?
So the demand is out of control. We have, been doing more tests than even during the peak of the pandemic last year. To fix this issue, we had to hire more staff, extend our hours, order more machines from the laboratories, and just, extend everything to try to make the lines go as fast as possible. But, there's still, at every testing center, there are going to be lines for now while this Omicron is spreading like wildfire.
Yeah, Senator Schumer now saying he's asking FEMA for 100 mobile testing sites in New York City. In terms of the logistics around staffing, you talked about those sites that have shut down. How big is it? How big a problem is it to get staff right now? And how problematic do you think it's going to become going forward as more and more people contract Omicron?
It's very hard to get staff right now, especially in this kind of setting, because no one really wants to be around people who have COVID, obviously, because they don't want to contract it themselves. But even the people that do start working at the centers, they're at risk also of contracting COVID. And then when they, get COVID and we test them, we have to find new staff to overtake them, so we don't have to close down the centers. So we always have to have, extra people on board just in case, preparing for the worst.
Hey, Mark, you guys can do a PCR test in an hour. Times and other sites are getting delayed more and more. But you have to pay for that $350. And I wonder, what would you need in order to make that free for people?
We would need the government to provide these specific tests. They're very high priced. I don't think they're going to want to do it. But, that's what we would need to do to make it free for the people. I would want to make it free, obviously, but, since we have to pay rents, pay our staff, and pay especially for the tests, it's a very difficult thing to do. But we offer insurance receipts, which people are able to submit to their insurance companies to hopefully get reimbursed.
The way the system works over here in the UK, Mark, is that a lot of people are using lateral flow tests to confirm whether or not they do have COVID. Then if they do have that, they then go and get a PCR test. Should we be using the PCR tests a little bit in a slightly more targeted way to confirm kind of yes or no with some degree of certainty whether or not the lateral flow test is right, and then allow sequencing off it? Are we overusing PCR tests in New York and elsewhere when lateral flow tests would suffice?
Well, the thing with lateral flow tests is that it's a great test if you're symptomatic. But whereas if you're asymptomatic or just had recent exposures, the PCR will pick it up much faster, and it'll get the virus before it's symptomatic.